Hey, good morning to those of you out there on the West Coast. Good afternoon to those of you here on the East Coast with me. I'm excited to get started. Actually, I was looking outside and I still got tons of snow on the ground, but it's nice and sunny. So I always have fun. I'm not a weather expert, but I'm like, how can it be that sunny and still, 10 degrees or 20 degrees, whatever it is we're dealing with? Doesn't matter. It still puts a smile on my face. So I'm happy about that. I'm excited to see those of you coming in here from LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, etc. We're going to get started just a second, but I like to start off with a tip as a thank you to those of you showing up early and on time. My tip for you is coming from all this week. It's coming out. Oh, dropped something. All this week it's coming out of 7 Habits for Highly Effective People. Stephen Covey wrote this book back in the 90s or something. I've been reading it since 97 when I was in the Army. And habit number 2 is begin with the end in mind. And my tip for you today, especially as it relates to USASpending, and we're going to go in there, is anytime you're doing research, you're going to FPDS, SAM, USASpending, etc., have the end in mind before you go in there. Don't just go in there and explore. So I'm going to talk about criteria today on how to prepare to go in. But when you think about the end, if I was going to do this and I'm doing research today, my end in mind might be something like I want to look at opportunities that fit my core competency, and I want to find 10 of them, and then I'll go in and do that work. I might set that goal at 50. That's totally fine. When you hit certain level of experience, you can do a lot more faster, but set your goal. That's beginning with the end in mind. And so today, when I show you how to use USASpending, and then you're going to go in there on your own, yeah, you can do it to explore, but also just might as well set a goal right then and there, your end. I'm going to go in there and follow Neil's training and get 10 opportunities that I like. Not that I like speaking in third person. All right, that was just a quick tip for those of you showing up early and on time. I appreciate that you do. When you show up early and on time to LinkedIn, YouTube, wherever you're at, those platforms push it out to other people and say, hey, this event is live. You might be interested. Come on over. So that's good for me, right? I like people to show up to my training, but it's good for all of us because it has more people coming in and our networking. This is your community. It's not my community. I'm part of your, right? So it's our community. And the whole idea is we are building our community together. I'm happy to do this facilitation, but it takes all of us to make this connection, this group grow. So we'll take off. Hey, really quickly, Elizabeth Waters, I saw you sent a message, I think in the help desk on GovCon in a box. I saw it. I'll get back to you a little later today. And thanks a lot, Chris. I appreciate you. Okay, so let me get my slides wherever those are. I had them and I lost them. Okay. All right. So let's get rock and roll on today's training. Oh, hey, really quickly. Sorry, just a little side business since I got you. Emily, I saw you. I know you got an opportunity going out. If you guys still needed somebody to help, I have text a phone number to Hillary. So just let her know. All right. So that'll be on YouTube recorded. Me just chatting with a customer or somebody. Hey, I get asked this all the time. How do I win more contracts? And it's not a magic answer. Right? I teach that government contracting is a process. And so I'm going to talk to you about the process. One answer to the question, how can I win more contracts, is to have more slam dunk opportunities in your sales pipeline. A slam dunk opportunity is one that you look at and you're like, wow, that was written for me. We can win this, right? And anytime you have to rationalize, one person goes, no, this is good. I think we can go after it. That's not a slam dunk opportunity. I'm not saying that you shouldn't go after that. That's your decision. But what I am saying, it's a fact that it is not a slam dunk opportunity, because when anybody rationalizes an opportunity, has to convince your colleagues that it's good, it's not a slam dunk. So today I'm going to be diving into USASpending, and I'm going to show you how you can go find opportunities in slam dunk opportunities using one of the government's tools, USASpending. It is an awesome tool. I love going into it because inside of USASpending, they have just a ton of data that helps me as a government contractor. But the other thing I really like about it, besides it having a really friendly interface, which I'll show you, is I can research my competitors. By researching my competitors, I can find an opportunity I like, see who won it, and then go see the other things that they're winning. And now I'll learn about 5 or 10 other opportunities I wasn't tracking. It's bad for my competitor. It's good for me. Right? And that's okay, because when I'm winning, my competitor is going to look at my stuff. So we call ourselves competimates, right? Sometimes we compete, sometimes we team. It's all fair and it's all fine. And so I'll show you how we get to that stuff. Okay, so today we're going to be diving down deep into USA spending on finding opportunities. I am going to break it up into, I wish I got my slides a little bit better, but I am going to talk about USA spending today and give an overall introduction. I'm not going to introduce FPDS. That was yesterday. Then I'm going to talk to you about laying out some criteria before you go into USA spending so you're prepared to get out of USA spending what you want. So we'll talk about criteria to put in place. And then I'm going to dive in to USA spending. I'm going to get on the website. We'll go take a look at it and see what we can see. I did want to mention one thing just before we get started on today's demo. I have a customer who's in a GovCon in a Box subscriber, and they were in our community meeting yesterday, office hours, and they were expressing this question or concern about I've been trying to get in to find opportunities related to what I do, like workforce development, a couple of others. So I'm going to not just randomly do stuff. I'm going to try to answer his question live here while we're talking in 20 minutes and just be able to hand that right back to him and say, not only did I do a demo video and show people how to use USA spending, but I literally have addressed somebody's problem, moved them forward just one step. I'm not trying to move them all the way to the end of the if you think about football, all the way to the end zone. I'm just trying to move you a few yards forward so that you've got momentum now and he can keep it up. If you don't know who I am, my name is Neil McDonald. I am the president of the GovCon Chamber of Commerce, co-founder of GovCon in a Box, our AI-powered SaaS platform I was just talking about. And I'm super excited to have you here in my federal sales, where I provide tips for success in the federal market. I spent 20 years in the federal market as a small business owner after I got out of the Army. And since 2018, I've been teaching people like you that government contracting, it's not a secret, it's just a process. When you follow a process A to Z, you're going to have repeatable, predictable results. And this is what I want for you. This is why I teach training over and over again. You can have repeatable, predictable results just from going into USA spending. And then when you expand those kind of process steps, you can have repeatable, predictable revenue. And that's my ultimate goal for you. I wanted to congratulate the companies that are in the 100 Club. Let me zoom my face out here a little bit. The companies that are in the 100 Club, we've got 126 out of 360,000 companies that are registered to sell to the federal government. 126 of these companies are in the 100 Club, meaning their federal visibility score is full. And so I put together a tool or a process, where you can measure your federal visibility score. How visible are you to federal buyers in their own tools? And then my co-founders in GovCon in a Box and I, we built a tool for you that just automates the process of understanding it. And then we provide you free guidance on what to do and how to fix it. You can do all this yourself to get to the 100 Club literally by next week. It's a pretty straightforward path. I wanted to congratulate the newest companies, like in this past week, who have joined. I got a little out of practice from doing it every day. So I want to shout out to Analysis and Resolution, Engaging New Media, Transpire, Kosha Solutions, Emerson Human Capital Consulting, and Rolston's Information System Assurance. I'm excited to have these companies here. Because I missed them, I'm going to leave this slide on again for tomorrow, Friday's training, and I'll actually throw in the point of contact who's leading the charge and who is probably in our community in here so that we can all say congratulations. But congratulations to the newest companies in the 100 Club. Okay, so quick introduction to, man, I missed this one too. I apologize for that. But USA Spending, let me just say really quick, USA Spending is one of three major systems that we touch as government contractors. There's SAM.gov, which is registration and opportunities and awards, things like that. Watch the video I did on Tuesday. Yesterday, I talked about the second one, which is FPDS, which is my all-time favorite tool. You can learn about it yesterday, but it's Federal Procurement Data System. It's all the contract awards. And then USA Spending is basically a user interface or user, much better user experience, a dashboard type. You'll see what I'm talking about, but a dashboard play on the data that comes out of the government. And so USA Spending has not just the data from FPDS, so contract data, but it has grant data and some other stuff in there that I never pay attention to because it's not my world. But it pulls together other federal data systems into an easy to use dashboard and filter driven type tool. It has almost all the data around contract awards except for sensitive contracts, classified, think CIA or NSA type organizations. Anything that's sensitive, they're not really trying to put it in and give our enemies access. You can get access to a lot of that type of data in ARC. So ARC, just Google it and type in like intelligence community and you'll figure it out. The last thing I was just mentioning here is that it's a great user experience tool. So FPDS is the main, what I call the source data or the system of authority on contract awards. That's the place to go. And the reason I love it is it's pure data. And I like playing at the table level where I can see all the data and manipulate it. But USASpending gives me the ability to do a lot of stuff faster. And I can see graphs and bars and blah, blah, blah. And so you'll see that in there. But I also see a different type of information. And that's what I'm going to show you really quickly. Okay. Before I go in to show you in USASpending, I just want to let you know the criteria I put in place. Simple criteria before I go in and search. I was talking about our subscriber in GovCon in Box who was mentioning this question. Actually, I can say his first name, right? Bill. And Bill, you tell me later if I just say your whole name. But Bill was asking me about this, and I said, hey, I'll do it in the training. Why don't you tell me your top 5 keywords? And so he gave me these 5 keywords that I'm going to use as I go search and to show you and him what I'm trying to do. And then the other thing is NAICS codes or PSCs. These are 2 type of codes that the government uses along with what they buy. So NAICS codes are these North American industrial codes or whatever. Basically, it's a code that describes everything. So if you go to a store, there's a code for a Granny Smith apple. There's a code for apples. There's a code for fruit and food. Well, NAICS codes are kind of that same thing around industries. One of the things about NAICS codes, if you don't know this, is the government uses that to determine how big your company is. Are you small or you're large? PSCs are codes around what does the government actually buy. And I think PSCs are primarily used by the federal government. But those are just codes. You don't really have to know the depth of them. Just know what your number is. An example is NAICS code 541, 511. I don't even care what the full name is. I just need to know that number because then I can go into my tools. And then target agencies, set-asides. You want to know what these are because you can go in and look at the entire federal government, or you can narrow down or focus your search efforts. Success comes from those of us who can niche down what we sell and can focus our efforts. Every little thing when we're focused or niche down builds on each other. And so that's what we're going to drive into today. All right, I know I'm moving at fire hose pace because I want to get to the tool and spend the most of the 20 minutes showing you that. We end right at 12:30. All right, so quick little commercial here. Make sure you check it out, our new marketplace. We're going to be reaching out and trying to find vendors who are selling to government contractors like us and bring them in and say, hey, why don't you join the marketplace? You know, you think lawyer, accountant, somebody who can help you with CMMC, that kind of thing. I want to get them into the marketplace so we find vendors that understand the federal government market. Okay, and the other thing is I invite you to become a GovCon in the Box subscriber. I don't think I've ever said that, even though I talk about the tool all the time, and we're building this out. But our goal is to have 50 or 100,000 subscribers in there, and we'd love for you to be one of the early ones. You can just go to govconchamber.com/govconinAbox-subscriber. You can see it here. Somebody will put it in the chat. Someday I'll make that URL a lot smaller so that we just get you right there. And literally someday that URL will go right to GovCon in a Box. I'm still blending the two, chamber and not. Okay, I think that was the last slide. So let's get in here and start looking at opportunities. As a reminder, and let me pull my, I want to get over to USASpending really quick while I'm talking, but as a reminder, I'm going to use an opportunity that Bill has talked about. He wants to get further into VA, and he wants to get further into the VA related to what he sells. And absent that, he wants to sit there and figure out, well, where should I be looking? If the VA is not the right place, should I be looking at another agency? He happens to be a service-disabled veteran-owned small business, I believe. And so I would kind of lean on the VA. He's also looking at the VA hospitals, and there's like 150 of those, but the outpatient centers, there's like 800 or 1,000 of those. And if he can get traction, he's got a lot of room to grow. What his struggle is how do I find those opportunities? And that's what we're going to do right now. By the way, Cecilia put into the chat the link I just showed you about the subscribers. Okay, so let me share my screen, come back up here. Window, USASpending. I don't know if you've seen USASpending before, but this is the home page. I'm coming into the home page, and I'm just going to hit Start Search. And so one quick thing I will tell you that is the difference between USASpending and FPDS that makes FPDS so much better for this exercise is they both allow you to search on keywords, let's say. But FPDS will narrow the keyword down to one field, where here I want to type in a keyword on behalf of Bill, and unfortunately it searches everywhere. It doesn't just search the description. That's okay. I'll show you how we filter it down. So let me just go find Bill's words really quick. I'm going to take the very first one he gave. If you don't know this, keywords can be one word or a couple of words, and they call that like a keyword phrase or something. So don't think keyword has to just be a singular word. His is workforce development. And I'll zoom in when it makes sense. I want to incrementally show you how the filtering has worked, because some of you, you're newer to the experience, etc. So if I zoom in here, you can see right there, I searched for workforce development, and right away, without knowing anything else, right, looking truly at the data, the first pass is 1,100 contract type awards, and I see 93 potential contract vehicles. That's exciting to me. Now, what I want to do is start typing this up, or tightening it up. So I'm going to say, well, show me contracts that have been awarded. Let's just say the last 2 years. Actually, I'm going to say the last 4 years. Now that I think about it, because maybe things are expiring. And the reason, well, let me just sort that really quick. So now I said, just show me workforce development, fiscal year 21 through 24. I went from 1,100 opportunities down to 396 and 51 contract vehicles. That's what this tab over here is, and I'll show you a lot more. You see how it says grants? I don't want grants. Those aren't the contracts we want. So I'm going to come down and I'm going to keep filtering. Here I'm going to do two. Well, actually, I'll do one filter at a time. So I'm going to say just contracts, and now I'm going to come up here and get rid of the vehicles. And so now I got 396 contracts, no vehicles, no grants, nothing. Good. The next thing I want to do is see right here where it says show new awards. The reason I want that is I'm trying to avoid option years and other stuff. I just want to see when have they awarded new awards around workforce development. So I'll click show new awards, hit submit search, and I'm going to zoom out here in a second. So again, workforce development, you can see my filters right up here. 4 fiscal years, I went from 311, I think, down to 269, which is actually really cool. I would have figured there'd be a lot more over the period of 4 years, a lot more redundancy in there. And then I'm saying only contracts, because I want to win a contract, or in this case, Bill does. All right, so here I'm looking at this data, and actually, let me just click on one as an example. You see these obligations and outlays. As a small business, don't waste your time looking at the credence at the moment. What Bill's looking for is contracts maybe he can go after. So I'm just going to scroll down and into the $4 million range or something. So these ones look good. Here's an integrated solution. So I'll try that guy, and I'll try this guy. And this is, by the way, don't expect magic in my training. I'm showing you the process, but I can't tell the results unless I perfected it before I came into training. And if I did that, I wouldn't be giving you a fair demonstration of what it's like. Sometimes even I run into roadblocks, and you just got to turn around, go back to the intersection, and go the other way. So here, I can see this is a $16 million contract. I already can see it's kind of in what Bill wants. It's human resource consulting. Remember, I said NAICS codes, know your NAICS codes, and know your PSC code. So here, even if I didn't know what they were, I can come in and look at this. By the way, a little plug, you can go to govconinthebox.com, and on there we have a free tool that if you type in keywords, and if you're a member, and you can be a free member, I just need to be able to look at your company data that's public. But if you're a member and you run this tool and you put in a keyword, I can go off and find all the NAICS codes that relate to that. So I can tell you, hey, the government's spending money with this NAICS code. Go check it out. Just go to govconinthebox.com. All right, so this is what I was trying to get to, is what's the work? So let me zoom in for a second. So here, the contractor shall provide support to include development of effective human capital management strategies, enhance policy, assist with the implementation of HR initiatives, including hiring, staffing, workforce planning, and whatever else got cut off, right? This looks ideal. Now, while you're looking at this, I'm going to look at Bill's keywords. He said workforce development, change management, organizational development, workplace productivity, employee engagement, leadership coaching. When I look at this, I'm not saying it's perfect, but I'm saying this looks like a slam dunk opportunity. And so what I'll do is I'll put it to the side and I'll come back later and look at it. Let me zoom out really quickly. I didn't even bother seeing who the agency was. All right, so this is at DHS. One of the things I'll start tracking is how many or which agencies are doing the most. So I'm going to go through that exercise again. And by the way, if I back up 1 second, you see how this says the start date was 2023? When I look at that and I see it's expiring in 2028, well, I'll go back and say, only show me 2021 or 2021 and 2020, I think, right? And basically, I'm looking for things that are expiring in 2025. I can filter that as well. I just was showing you more. Oh, here you go. This is the description I was looking for. So here's the description of the work. Same thing, human capital data analytics, workforce planning, directly supporting HHS's, I think that's HHS's CMS, strategy to modernize the organization, leveraging technology and automation and blah, blah, blah. This is computers, but this is an interesting one because it is around human capital data analytics and workforce planning. If I was Bill, and Bill better be on today and watching this because I told him I was going to do this. But Bill, what I would do is go to this company here and try to get in the door and say, hey, first off, not that I want to get on the contract, but can I introduce myself? And we just start talking. And then I kind of slide in, I know you guys do IT and our expertise is HR. So maybe there's ways for us to find opportunities like that. And my goal always is to soft talk my way to the ultimate thing I want. I don't want to scare them away. Imagine being at a bar or something, you see somebody you like, and you don't want to get them thinking about marriage right there in the bar. I just want them to sit there and think about talking for the next 5 minutes, for the next 30 minutes, maybe a second date. And it's the same thing with building relationships. So when I reach out to Versa or whatever this is, I'm going to build that relationship slowly with them. Okay, so you saw how I quickly found 2 opportunities. I just opened them up. Luckily for me, they both actually look pretty good to at least research more. Before I do anything else, I did want to show you, you can scroll down further. They've got these different things. So here I can see which agency is spending the most on workforce development at the moment using that keyword. That keyword is loose because sometimes there's a company called something workforce development and they're in here as well. That's okay. You just figure out how to deal with the data. But if you come down here to categories, you can click this drop down. You can click, there it goes. I was waiting. And I'm going to change this to recipient really quick. If I look at recipient, I can see companies that are winning. So hopefully let me just go make sure you're able to see this. Where's my screen? Good. Yeah. So I can see companies that are winning. These might be ones I'm looking to build relationships with. I can also do the classification. So which NAICS codes are being used for what he's doing. Theoretically, the biggest one should be like a HR type NAICS code, but here, 2 of them at the top, 3 of them at the top are related to technology. I would be going in there if I was Bill and learning more about it. Okay, so let me come back to USASpending, and I want to back the data up and get rid of, let me just get rid of all those years and just come to FY 2021. If I'm doing my math correctly, these contracts are getting ready to expire soon. And so we should have like 10 or so, maybe a little more. Just trying to kill time while USASpending loads. So let's see. We've got 79. That's way more than I thought. Remember, my tip for today about Stephen Covey's 7 Habits for Highly Effective People, habit 2 is begin with the end in mind. My end for USASpending was I want 10 opportunities. Here I'm looking at 79. I have a feeling I might be able to find my 10 because I've only started using my first keyword. Keep in mind, I haven't even gone to the other 4 keywords that Bill gave me. So let's look through this and see what we got. I'm just going to pick a couple that are smaller, like I said. So Georgia Tech, I'm going to skip that. Look at this one with Deloitte. By the way, just the very thing, Deloitte is a large company, $1 billion company. I have no idea why they're winning a $2 million opportunity. I'm assuming it's on some sort of unique vehicle that they have. But that's the kind of stuff, as you get more experience, you want to push those larges out by showing up to the buyer earlier. But let me just choose this guy and one more. I'm going to get rid of these 2. Not John Snow. Let me just take this guy right below. Okay, so this one here, this didn't help me. So you got to play it by ear, and this is where you get you begin to master the data. So this one isn't a 5-year contract. It was a much smaller one. It was one and done. And but so keep in mind, one of the things I'm showing you is how to find opportunities you can pursue. The other thing I said was Bill was struggling to find opportunities to get in. Sometimes you just have to find who has awarded contracts and then go knocking on their doors. I see you have paid for workforce development support services before. Can I have an introduction meeting? Right? And if I was talking with Bill, excuse me, which I am, I would tell him, go to Washington headquarters service, go in there, find a small business specialist, or I'm not going to show you today how to do this, but you can take this contract award, go over to FPDS, and you can find this opportunity in the top right-hand side. Just watch the training from yesterday. You will find the contracting officer's email and name, right? And so now you've got something you can reach out to and follow up with. Okay, so let me do this other one. So here's a good one. And what it tells me, I got my math wrong. I should have gone back to fiscal year 2020, but I'm running out of time, so I don't need to do that. But you see my point. If I went to fiscal year 2020, I would have found an opportunity that's probably expiring in the next 3 to 6 months, 3 to 9 months. And so working for Bill here, I'm trying to help him find the details of the description. So this is a call order. It just means it's coming out on something, but it's for program support services for the Senate. I don't know what that is, but transportation workforce development and the knowledge management unit. That looks ideal. The challenge Bill was having was getting into the right places. The one last thing that I will show, and I don't have time to show it completely, but I can just tell it. Let me zoom out. Is if you just keep scrolling down, I could have chose the agency. Remember, one of the things that he was talking about to me, right, is Veterans Affairs. I want to do work with Veterans Affairs. And so if I hit this, now I've got 7 opportunities that are in there. I don't know what they are, but I'm telling you, Bill will be excited to be able to have potential. This is 6 or 7 potentials. And that's only on the first keyword. So keep in mind, Bill will go through the next keyword and the next keyword. And by doing that, he'll find a list of contracting officers, a list of opportunities, and even program offices within the VA. If I click on this and I go all the way to the bottom, and I go to agency detail, I can begin to see who's buying it. Here it is. So awarding office is Sac Frederick. I don't know what that is, right? And that actually is not too detailed because the VA, I want to get down to the hospital level, but he can do his own research and do more of that, and he'll be able to find that traction. Okay, so let me stop sharing that, share my last screen in here, my last slide. Oh, I might not even have updated, but it doesn't matter because I know the message. Here's what I want you to remember. When you're going into USASpending and you want to have success, make sure you have you're focused. You know what you sell. You know how buyers might search for you. So those keywords, the NAICS codes. And that all just begins with you having a clear, focused offer and your niche down. When you do that, you'll have a lot of success. When you get into USASpending and you put your filters in and you start doing your search, don't spend a lot of time looking at an opportunity. If the title looks good, open in a new tab. Like I just right click and open in a new tab. I don't even look at it. And I keep going down USASpending's result list until I got 10, 20, 30, 40 things open. Then the next activity I go through is I start looking at each one of them and closing the ones that I'm looking at. Not really. Oh, I kind of like that. I'll leave it open. I'll look more later. And it's this idea of spending 10 seconds or less and then coming back and spending 30 seconds or less. So you're only investing in increments on any given opportunity. And when you open up a lot of tabs, you can measure and maintain your time. I talked with one of my customers yesterday in the workshop, not the workshop, but the community for the GovCon in the Box subscribers. And in there, she was saying, hey, we have put in place what you said is every day we're spending a certain amount of time blocked to go in looking for opportunities. And I loved hearing that. So again, number 3 is of the ones that remain, pick the ones that are slam dunk. You still have to do a lot of research on it to validate it and to qualify it, move it forward. But this is about initial identification. If you like this training and you want more of it, tomorrow I'm going to be talking about how do you find opportunities from long-range acquisition forecast. Not only do you find opportunities that are listed there, but how do you use those to piggyback into the offices that might have other opportunities they're not even listing publicly. And so I'll teach that tomorrow. So make sure you register. I think I put it right here, is using or finding opportunities using the long-range acquisition forecast. Go to LinkedIn, register, or if you're on YouTube, go ahead and do that. Monday, the 27th, we got a virtual networking event. We had over 200 people register at the last one. It's a great way for you to network and build your community. So register for that right here on LinkedIn, or you just go to govconinAbox.com/networking and you'll find the links there. So see you in tomorrow's training. Just remember, government contracting, it's not a secret. It's just a process. I will see you.